Welcome to the new dashboard training project. This brief video provides an overview of the features of the new dashboard. If you have used the old dashboard, many of these features will be familiar with you. If you are new to the SENTRY platform, a special training meeting with your client manager will be scheduled soon. The first time you log into the new dashboard, you are prompted to change your password. Please enter and re-enter the password you want to use and click the Sign In button. After logging into the new dashboard, you see your sensors and the recent signal trend. At this point, you can use the buttons to view alerts and log an event. The View Alerts button shows you all alerts that have been generated. The Log an Event button allows the user to make a note about some event or condition that may have an influence on the sensor signal. When you click one of the graph thumbnails, the dashboard for that sensor is displayed. The new dashboard retains many of the most used date selection features, like the date slider in the upper left-hand corner of the dashboard. It also retains the standard date time selection buttons like 1 day and 1 week. A date slider in the upper left has a new feature, orange bars, to show days when the SENTRY signal is above or below the limits established. After selecting a new date range, like this, the left and right scroll buttons move backwards and forwards by the same time interval. In this example, the data moves by 1 week. Skipping over the Add Comparisons button for now, you are also able to change the minimum and maximum values for the y-axis and the second y-axis, which would appear to the right on the graph. By default, Auto is selected, meaning that the graph will automatically adjust based on the signals displayed. Just below the y-axis selection feature, you can click on an Export button to export data for the graph that is being displayed. A note appears in the upper right-hand corner indicating that the data will be emailed to you shortly. Below the Export button, there is a Summary Statistics area showing the minimum and the maximum values displayed on the graph and indicating the date and time that those minimum and maximum values are displayed. The averaging minutely means that each minute's data is used for the purposes of calculation. The sample rate, in this case 1 in 20, indicates that only 1 of 20 data points are displayed. Between the date selection range and the graph itself is a long, narrow toggle bar, which alternatively shows and hides the date selection feature on the right-hand side. On the graph, an orange dot represents a note that has been entered. If you point to and click on the dot, the actual note has been displayed there. If you don't want to see those orange dots, you can click on the Event Log slider, which alternatively hides and shows the dots. The Add Comparisons button allows you to compare the SENTRY signal at 2 different date ranges, or it allows you to select a different sensor to overlay with the one that is currently displayed. You will note that when you select a second sensor, you can adjust the date range for that second sensor independently of the first sensor. After selecting a sensor in the date range, clicking on the Compare button redraws the graph with the data with the second sensor's data displayed. The second sensor's data also has a summary statistics area down below. And if you choose to, you can display the y-axis for that second sensor on the right or on the left. After looking at a comparison, you can clear comparisons by clicking on the small box to the right of the Add Comparisons button, which removes the second sensor's data. Scrolling down in the page, this is the event logs area where you can log an event for a particular date and time. Click on the Log Event button, make a note about an entry that has been displayed, and in this location you can also customize the date that the note should be associated with. You can also have that same note go to more than one sensor simply by selecting the second sensor and clicking the Submit button. That new note is displayed on the graph above, and a new feature which we have included in this dashboard is a sensor state history. That sensor state history is automatically recorded by SENTRY whenever a sensor changes from normal to high or to low status. That's a toggle button. The event logs slider toggles between site time, that is the time that the time in which the sensor is located, versus your time, the local time for where you are located on the planet. You'll see that the toggle switches back and forth between those two different time zones. This concludes this brief introduction to the features of the new SENTRY dashboard. We appreciate the time you've taken to listen to this, and please reach out to SENTRY if you would like more in-depth training on these features. Thank you very much. Goodbye.